If you've spent literally any time studying the English language, you already know the universal frustration of learning phrasal verbs, right? They just seem like these totally random combinations of words designed purely to trip you up. But what if I told you there's actually a hidden logic behind all that chaos? Today, we are decoding a tiny but incredibly powerful word, up. Okay, let's dive into this.
Here's a quick roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll uncover the hidden meaning of up. Second, we'll look at the completion principle. Third, adding emphasis. Fourth, making an appearance. And finally, starting and splitting.
All right, section 1, the hidden meaning of up. And trust me, it goes way beyond just pointing at the sky.
So does the word up always mean towards the sky? I mean, when you first learn English, up was simply a direction. You look up, you climb up. But when you pair it with verbs, it completely transforms. Let's just shatter that directional assumption right now.
Here is the secret code that's going to instantly unlock your English fluency. Up expresses the idea of completing or totally finishing something. When you add up to a verb, we aren't talking about altitude anymore. We are talking about absolute finality. Consider this your big aha moment.
Moving to section 2, the completion principle, or as I like to think of it, the absolute exhaustion of doing housework. Picture a weekend morning of absolute chore agony. First, you're clearing up, putting things generally where they belong. Then sweeping up, completely removing all the rubbish and dirt from the floor. Next, you tidy up the bedroom, hanging up jackets on a hook, and finally getting the washing machine loaded up with 30 clothes. Now, the flow here is absolutely crucial. You didn't just clear, sweep, or tidy. The addition of up to each and every one of these chores signifies that the specific painful task wasn't just started, it was totally and entirely completed. But you know what's interesting? This rule of absolute completion applies even when things are a complete disaster. Take a pile of jumbled up clothes or a clogged up wash basin. If clothes are jumbled up, they aren't just slightly messy, they are totally and completely mixed into an untidy nightmare. If a wash basin is clogged up, it is entirely blocked. The completion principle holds perfectly true for chaos, too.
And the ultimate conclusion to all that painful housework. Well, you used up all your energy. After all that sweeping and clearing, falling asleep on the sofa is basically inevitable. Why? Because you finished your entire supply of energy. Used up brilliantly illustrates this ultimate completion. You've totally drained your physical reserves until there is absolutely nothing left.
Let's jump into section 3, adding emphasis. This is all about giving your verbs a real punch.
Looking at the actual source framework we're decoding today, we can see real, structured linguistics at play here. Notice how the text explicitly points out that these sentences could totally be written without the word up, but adding it emphasizes the meaning of finish it all. It gives it weight.
Think about it. Eat up your vegetables. Drink up your juice. Seth's used up all the milk. When a parent says eat up, they aren't just, casually suggesting you ingest some food. They are commanding you, with noticeably more punch, to finish every single bite on that plate. The particle emphasizes the absolute completion of the meal.
All right, section 4, making an appearance. Let's take a look at a chat between Robert and Georgia.
In their conversation, Georgia is talking about her sister Eliza. Now, compare the dry, literal translation. Eliza arrived at last, with the conversational, phrasal version Georgia actually uses. Eliza showed up at last, or later on she says turned up. The crucial point here is the nuance. Showed up doesn't just mean traveling from point A to point B. It specifically means arriving at a place where people were actively expecting you. It adds this whole layer of anticipation to the arrival.
And that brings us to our final stop, section 5, starting and splitting, the business of verbs.
So Eliza didn't just arrive, she started a business. First, she opened up a restaurant serving exotic food, meaning she literally started a totally new shop. Robert notes this will liven up the kind of boring town of Dunstan, making it much more interesting and exciting. Then he asks about the setup, which is a noun derived straight from the phrasal verb, asking how the business is entirely arranged. Notice how up is consistently used here to describe creating a brand new space and completely changing the atmosphere of a town. But here is a fascinating contradiction for you. While up can mean bringing something entirely into existence, it can also mean separating something entirely. In her business, Eliza and her partner divide up the work and the profits into smaller parts. And back in the kitchen, she spends half the day chopping up food. So whether it's business profits or fresh ingredients, Up signals that the separation is absolute and complete.
Let's summarize the 5 functional categories we discovered today. What you should absolutely take away from this explainer is that up is so much more than just a direction. It signifies completion, like when your energy is used up. It provides emphasis, like being told to eat up. It signals arrival when someone is expected, as in showed up. It marks creation, like when a shop is opened up. And finally, it indicates complete division, like chopping up food.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty wild thought. How many times a day do you use this tiny, powerful word without realizing its true hidden rules? Now that you know the completion principle, I guarantee you are going to hear the word up entirely differently in your very next conversation. Keep your ears open and keep decoding the language around you.